Have you ever been sick and tired? I mean truly sick and tired. And I don't mean tired as in having worked hard all day. I mean tired of being treated like a second-class citizen. Tired of seeing your family and your friends continually disrespected. On December 1st, 1955, I did get sick and tired, and as a result, made a mark in the history books. My name is Rosa Macaulay. I know you're probably expecting Rosa Parks, and you will meet her. But before there was Rosa Parks, there was Rosa Macaulay. It's a pleasure to meet you today. I was born on February 4th, 1913 in Tuskegee, Alabama, to James and Leona Macaulay. My father was a carpenter and my mother a school teacher. He had to travel all over Alabama looking for work. Unfortunately, he also had a wandering eye. One day he left and never came back, leaving my mother with two small children to raise, my brother Sylvester and me. We then moved to Pine Level, Alabama with her parents. Because Pine Level already had a school teacher for the colored children, my mother had to go to another town called Spring Hill in order to work. She lived in Spring Hill during the week and came home on the weekends. Essentially, we were raised by my grandparents. Sylvester and I were named after them, Rosa and Sylvester. My grandfather, both of them had been slaves. My grandfather could pass for white. He was the product of his slave mother and the white slave master's son. He hated white people because growing up, he consistently got beatings. Therefore, because he could pass for white, he took great joy in doing things to embarrass white folks. He would laugh at them behind their back. He even taught Sylvester and me never to let anybody push us around. As a matter of fact, my grandfather carried his own shotgun. One day, he stood on the porch while the Ku Klux Klan marched past our house. He was not afraid. He never let his children play with white children, and then he didn't let his grandchildren play with white children either. Education for us was, my grandfather taught us life lessons. My mother taught us educational. She taught us reading and writing and our figures, numbers, in other words, math. Before I even went to the one-room shack that was a school for colored children, I already had a head start. Colored children only went to school to the 6th grade, but my mother was determined I would get my education. When I turned 11, I went to Miss White's School for Girls. Unfortunately, when I was in the 11th grade, I had to stop. I had to come back home and care for my grandmother. One more thing I can tell you about my grandfather is that he was an avid Marcus Garvey fan, and as a result, he also tried to join the NAACP, but because he could pass for white, they rejected him. He wasn't very happy about that, but he still did not allow the white man to make us feel, he still instilled within us not to let anyone push us around. One day, my brother and I were walking home from school, and a white boy named Franklin began to bother us. I told him, "Franklin, you leave us alone." He just kept on. So I picked up a brick and I said to him, "Franklin, if you don't leave us alone," well, let's just say this. He did not try to find out whether I was bluffing or not. When my mother and grandmother found out what I had done, you see, I was kind of proud of myself. But I got in trouble. They were worried for me. I said, he was bothering us. I was trying to protect us. But they were afraid the Franklin's family would come and retaliate against us. They told me never to do that again. What I learned was never to tell them when I did. On December 1st, 1955, I got off work. You see, Parks, and I called Raymond Parks. Parks worked as a barber, and I worked at the Montgomery Fair department store. I learned many skills that would give me opportunities. However, there weren't very many opportunities for colored women. Therefore, I was a seamstress and worked my way up to assistant tailor. So I got off work, and like most folks who ride the bus in Montgomery, Alabama, I got on, paid my fare, and I forgot my vow that I had made years earlier. Let me tell you about riding the bus in Montgomery, Alabama. We would get on at the front and pay our fare. If the bus had 2 doors, we would have to get on, pay, get back off, run to the back, and get back on. That doesn't make sense. When I sat down in the first seat, in the first row of the colored section. You see, the buses were segregated. White passengers in the front of the bus, colored passengers in the back of the bus. But if the white section got full, the first 2 rows of the colored section had to give up their seats to white passengers. I was minding my own business when I became aware of a white passenger standing up over me. I looked up at him, he looked down at me. I turned and looked out the window. Now I know I was supposed to give up my seat, but I was sick and tired. I decided I paid my fare, I'm not giving up my seat. The bus driver called out, "Hey, I need that seat." I said to myself, I need it too. The bus driver said, "If you don't give up that seat," I would not budge. He said, "If you don't give up that seat, I'm going to call the police." I said, "You may do that." And he did. When the police came, I said to them, "Why do you all always push us around?" He said, "I don't know, but the law is the law and you are under arrest." When E.D. Nixon heard about my arrest, he sprang into action. He was the president of the NAACP at the time. He reached out to the Durrs who had worked with him. The Durrs were a white couple. Mr. Durr was an attorney. News of my arrest quickly made it throughout Montgomery. I was well respected in town because of the work that I did with the NAACP. A meeting was arranged and a new reverend in town was elected to lead a bus boycott. The bus boycott was to begin the Monday after my arrest. On that day, I was in court. I was convicted. We appealed my conviction, and my case went all the way to my case went to the highest court in the land, the Supreme Court of the United States. There, Alabama's laws segregating buses were deemed unconstitutional. We had won, but it just wasn't black folks working for this. It was black folks, brown folks, white folks, all working together. We had won together. People often ask me, why did I choose December 1st, 1955 to make a stand by sitting down? It was even suggested that because I was the secretary of the NAACP at the time, that perhaps they put me up to it. I'd like to say it was divine intervention working on my behalf that day. Not only that, it was the teachings from my grandfather and the time that I spent at the Highlander Folk School that summer that gave me the courage. The Bible says for us to come boldly to the throne of grace and let our petitions be made known. Being a woman of faith, I knew that God would be with me. Yes, I was a little fearful. But with God on your side, you and God are enough. You see, people had been lynched, dragged, beat down for much less than sitting down on a bus. But each and every one of us can make a stand. The political climate that we are in today is eerily close to that time. We cannot afford to stand back and not say anything or not do anything. Too many people died. Too many people have fought for the rights that are being taken away now. You can stand boldly. One person can tap another person who can tap another person, and then all of us working together can make a change. God has put talents and gifts in you right now that can be used to move His plan forward. And working together, we can fight to not allow history to repeat itself. I challenge you today. My name is Rosa Parks. It's been a pleasure to meet you.